Welcome to the Be About It podcast. My name is Ben Mercedes, and I'll be your host. We'll cover financial and crypto markets, real estate, and entrepreneurship. My goal is to inspire others to be about it and take action. Today, I have the pleasure of hanging out with a friend, goes by G. And last time I saw him, we had a lot to talk about. NFTs, smart contracts, Bitcoin, Bitcoin standard, rookie baseball cards, basketball cards. There's a lot going on, man. How are you?
Good. I've been looking
Thanks for coming.
to this. Absolutely.
So let's talk. I mean, what's been occupying your time lately? What have you been reading lately? How is investments going?
Well,
opportunities?
lately, as of the last couple of weeks, the market's been...
Yeah.
Everything's been...
It's been a reality check. But that's just not just the crypto market.
No,
I mean, we're seeing real estate come down a little bit, the stock market coming down a lot of it. And it's just one of those things. When the Fed raises rates, liquidity leaves the market, and if you sell, you lose.
Yeah. I saw a stat this morning. We were watching CNBC. Mm-hmm. They had the new house sales, and they had the estimate, and then they had like what it actually was.
Yeah.
And the estimate was that it would be down 1.7%. And it came in down 16.6%. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, for them to miss, like you see them miss all the time, but it's usually
everything's
like,
a miss.
It's usually like pennies or like little bits, not by 15%.
Yeah, the numbers are fake. Oh, and we've known they're fake. So anything they do, it's like it's all manipulated anyways.
Right.
Unfortunately. So like, how do you beat that then?
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I like some cryptos. Mm-hmm. Cards. We touched on cards. Mm-hmm. I'm a big guy about physical silver, and we could do a whole episode. Yeah.
That'll be episode 2. I've heard Kiyosaki talk about that. Yeah. I saw a short video with him where he's he's like, look, fiat money is fake money. Mm-hmm. The M2 money supply, this is fake money. This is paper. And it's backed. It used to be backed by gold. It's now backed by nothing.
Right.
Besides the full force of the American government, the Marines, the military, the Navy. You know what I mean?
United States government.
Bro. And so it's like, and safety hints at this stuff where like fiat fuels the U.S. to just bully the world into oblivion. And like there's no stopping it because they have the best money supply and the world revolves around them. So like fiat fuels war, and his whole thing, not his whole thing, but his aspect of it is like Bitcoin is peace in that regard. Right. Because if another country, if Russia invades America to get us, but we move to a Bitcoin standard, it's like, how are you going to get my Bitcoin? You can't.
That's one of the things he touches upon too in his book. The fact that part of making the system fiat was
to stay in control.
Not just fiat, but the reserve currency was so that they could weaponize it and use it as, you don't even have to go to war if it's just like, all right, we'll just crush your economy then. Yeah.
I mean, El Salvador, they adopt Bitcoin and it's making waves. And, there's chatter on Twitter, but it's like, what happens? How do you squash that if you're the U.S.? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. I'd like to see like how exactly they're dealing with it, like right now, being when they started entering where Bitcoin was.
Sure. I'll translate for G. What happens when you buy at the top of a Bitcoin market and the market goes down 50, 60%? Well, what happens when you have a house and the Great Depression happened or the 2008 crash happened? The market crashes. Why would you sell your house unless you absolutely need liquidity? Which some people fell in that trap, man. I had a coworker. He had stocks and the market crashed and he pulled out. Like if you need that liquidity, like I can't blame you, but if you sell at the bottom, you lose. But if you're a long-term hodler, it's like, it's a no-brainer. Buy more. dollar cost average into that position. And, like I've been buying Bitcoin since $2,000. Mm-hmm. My average basis on Bitcoin acquisition isn't $68,000.
Right.
But I don't know. We've talked a little bit. The more you learn about Bitcoin, like I'm not trying to get rich off it, bro. Right. I'm upgrading my money. You know what I mean? And I like how they discuss that. It's like, there's the problem we're seeing right now is because the money supply is unlimited. Mm-hmm. And Bitcoin has that hard cap at 21 million coins. Right. And there's no third parties to stop me from sending to you, regardless of what I say on Facebook and Twitter. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If I'm a quote unquote fugitive or not, or a quote unquote, domestic terrorist, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the cool thing, the situation in Canada. So, right. When you understand that part of it, it becomes easy to think, hey, I'm going to take a long position on Bitcoin, right? Because in 10, 20, 30 years, this is a no brainer. Mm-hmm. So that conviction causes you to buy it. But for poor people, I mean, a lot of them are going to get wrecked, bro. Right.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing that happened with Luna last week was,
how much liquidity came out of that? It's big money.
Yeah. It's big money. I want to say like 50 billion.
50 billion just disappear.
I think.
Yeah. It was big money.
I'm not.
I saw it.
Not guaranteed.
Either way, it's big money. Do you know what he was doing?
It was funny. I mean, yeah, there's a lot that's come out since. Yeah. As far as like deep down the actual like code of the protocol and whatnot, the way that it was set up, stuff that he was connected with previously. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it also seems like there could have been some sort of like attack on the stablecoin. Yeah. Which opens up a whole, conversation. Yeah. But I don't think it's done. I think we'll see another stablecoin, of course, get attacked.
Yeah, of course.
And or just implode. Yeah. Which I don't see how that happens unless it's getting attacked. But it's interesting. So back to your point though, and we were talking about this the other day. It's funny when it comes to like money, or not even money, but investing particularly, because when it comes to things that we all like this phone, if I like Apple and I like this phone, and then this phone goes on sale 20, 30, 40, 50%, I'm like, word, I run to the store and I'm like, I've been waiting for this. I like this. I like what it is. And now I can get it 50% off. But when it comes to investing, when what you like goes on sale, everyone's like, word, I got to sell. Instead of what you said, like, just wait, let everyone sell.
Listen, man,
and then buy it all up.
I've traded options, and I mean, like watching that loss day by day is a lot. So I get it with people in that risk, but it's, you're right. Buy when there's blood in the streets. You know what I mean? It's scary, bro. Like, when the market tanked 2020, Bitcoin went down to $4,500 from like 10, 12K. And like, that was a big move. And so like, whoever bought at that bottom, that's when those government checks started coming out. Right. And so.
Well, I definitely think that this next, I've been continuing to buy like a little bit, Bitcoin, Ethereum, mostly those two. And I mean, I just fully believe that this next run, every run, people become financially free. So this will be your cycle. The next bull run,
that's exactly my point with this stuff. It's like, if you just wait, right? Every bull run, people become millionaires, billionaires. Right. And I know these dudes. I talk to these dudes on Twitter. This dude, Jason Williams. I mean, he became a millionaire. Do you know his story?
I don't.
So he became a millionaire before Bitcoin, but then he did it again on that level.
Got it.
Poor kid, grows up in Queens. His dad is non-existent. I think his dad beat him, bounced. He grows up not wanting to be piss poor. He's going to become like a nurse or a doctor. And I think at that time there was no like field nurse or something, or I don't think registered nurses were like a thing. Okay. But he was around during that time. He forms the first like ready-med urgent care, or one of the first startups like that, and he scales it. And as Blockbuster goes out of business, he's buying all the Blockbusters and converting them. And he scales a business to 500 businesses, and then he gets bought out for $500 million. Right. With a contingency that he signs a do not compete, that he can't compete in that space for like 5 years. So like, what do you do with 500 million? You just fade away, bro. No, this dude comes up with another idea that, hey, we should just melt down tires. Tires are an eyesore, 18-wheeler tires, car tires. Let's just take them, melt them down, capture the heat, sell it back, and then strip down the components of it and, wholesale it off to whoever needs it. And that's what they do. And then they got into cryptocurrency mining, Bitcoin mining, Ethereum mining. So he has free energy that he harnesses on miners, and then he stacks Bitcoin.
So what does he use the heat that he harnesses to power the rigs?
Correct.
Word.
And then he sells down the scraps for everything else. And he has a patent on it, and he's riding around in Lamborghinis and Uruses and everything.
And he's older now?
Yeah. He's probably like 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that's a whole nother life.
I mean, that's like the kid from Mighty Ducks. I tell people this all the time because I think it's just hilarious. When I found out, I found it funny, but the dude's worth like $5 billion now. One of the, what was his name in the movie? He had the long blonde hair.
Yeah.
But he's like he like helped start like the Bitcoin Foundation. Mm-hmm. He's like head big in Bitcoin world. Yeah. Worth billions now. Yeah. And it was like crazy. This kid, I saw him on like the first two Mighty Ducks, never saw him again. And now he's a billionaire because he got into, just so happened to get into it, I don't know.
Yeah.
2012.
Max Kaiser gave Alex Jones 10,000 Bitcoin.
When
giving someone 10,000 Bitcoin wasn't a big deal.
Does he own them still?
He had them on a laptop. He discarded the laptop. So he's a billionaire, but it's not realized.
So that's unfortunate.
That eat me up, bro. Like there's another dude who has like $1 billion in a it's like a scrapyard. Yeah. And he's trying to petition them to comb through the whole thing.
So here's a question for the Bitcoiners. There's going to end up being a lot of Bitcoin off the market just for multiple reasons, whether it's like this whole, this couple that stole all this Bitcoin.
Oh, get out of here.
Come on. But anyway, whether it's stuff like that, whether it's just, whether it's straight, just hitting the wrong button and it gets lost for all time. Yeah. Things like that. It will be interesting to see, because in theory, right, like that should help price action.
Oh yeah, because it's Bitcoin that's never going to move again.
Right.
Right. So
but is there a time when that becomes where they have to try to figure something out, whether it's to get it out or make some sort of derivative of it that represents it because you can't get to it. You know what I mean? Because everyone's like, hey, there's only going to be 21 million, but like we already know there's going to be less than that from all of this. I mean, just what was that seizure that they took from that couple? Tens of millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Just off the market forever.
Right.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
Dude, on the Bitcoin standard, everything kind of participates in this thing, right? And like by contributing to the network, everyone is rewarded either through price action by holding. If you're mining, you're getting paid out every weekly. If you have a node, you're helping to verify the network. But like it's this whole like equal participation and we all win. There's no stealing. So as governments start using it, as Mass Mutual bought $100 million, Tesla has bought some for their balance sheet. As corporations move to this for balance sheets, like that's a whole nother buy every day. You know what I mean? Like, I forget his name, but there's I think he's an NFL player. But he talks about, his last name's Okung. On on a Bitcoin standard, it's like we don't care about who wins the NBA Finals. We care about Tuesdays when these guys get their checks because they're all buying Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin just keeps going up every week. Like we joked about it on Talking in Bits. It's like this dude was wearing a necklace with an open dime, so it's like a cold storage device or wallet on a necklace. And I was like, yo, you could have like $1 billion on your neck and no one would know. You know what I mean? Like when hip hop and the culture kind of buys into that 5-10 years from now, do you really think the price is going to be near 30K? It's like, no, it's going to be like 300 grand. The issue simultaneously is inflation's out of control. And there's no end in sight, bro. Gas is $7 in Cali.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know, man. How do you feel about like cash? Like how much liquidity do you like to have? What's your philosophy on like investing? What do you think about debt? How do you approach those things?
As far as having liquidity, I like to have, I mean, not a whole lot, but like a fun amount. To be able to buy when it looks like this. You know what I mean? And when I do buy, as of right now, as far as my money, I like to put it into things that may not be as liquid as cash, but are pretty close. So like physical silver, I can get rid of it in a day if I need. Crypto, if I need to, I can sell it and, get rid of it. Cards. It might take more than a day, but, a couple of days, a week.
Let's talk about cards. Okay. Pokemon cards are still popping. And we're talking sports cards. We're talking rookie year, Tom Brady, rookie year, star players. What are you buying those for? I've seen Drake open a couple packs. Like, what is the deal? Like, how much of the packs that he's opening? And how profitable are those star cards, like a Tom Brady rookie or something?
So the rookie cards of the GOATs are very expensive. Opening packs like currently, I wouldn't suggest. I would just pick the players that you like.
Gotcha.
Buy like those singles.
Off like what, like eBay or like a website?
The eBay, there's a few different platforms. If you go right on cardhedger.com, because that's what we do is
I'm going to put that in the show notes.
Track all the sales from different platforms. So you can go on there and like look up a player. Let's say Luka. You can look up Luka and go through all the cards that we're tracking, and then it will allow you to, it will show you like the prices on the different platforms, allow you to go right through to those platforms and buy them. But it's not even just the rookie cards. There's also like short prints or numbered cards. So a good example was I bought a Steph Curry card out of 49. So there's 49 copies of this version.
Fire.
And I think I paid like $50 or $60 for it. And then I sent it in to get it graded, which was another like 30. And it came back a 10. It looked clean, so that's why I sent it in. Getting 10s are not easy. All right,
so you're all in for like $460?
No, I'm all in for, the card was like 50 and it was like 30, like 80.
$80.
80, $90.
Cool.
And I just did a trade with some dude, and I traded him that one card, and in return, I'm getting back Jerry West on-card autograph out of 10. He's the NBA logo, for people who don't know. Oscar Robinson, on-card auto out of 35. He was the only other player to average triple-double other than Westbrook. And Robert Parrish.
That's just an incredible stat.
Yeah. Robert Parrish, big patch of his Celtics jersey, like the number and the white number in green, autographed out of 10. So I got those 3 cards, and I'm all in for like $80.
Yeah, you
can literally just do that.
Yeah, you trade up.
Like if that was all that I focused my time on, you could easily turn it in quickly.
Imagine being like 12 or 13 on that. Get one of those a week, bro.
The thing is, like, it's cool because, like in the card world, there are those kids there, and you go on YouTube and you see them like hustling and hitting the shows and doing these deals. Actually, you weren't there the other day. Me and my girl were at the flea market. I love going to the flea market, and there was this kid. Had to be around 12, and he had his whole binder of Pokemon cards, and he was talking to the guy who ran his booth, and he was just sitting there like negotiating with him for like 5-10 minutes, and we just sat there and like listened in, and he's like, yeah, I could do like 45 on this page, and the kid's like, blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's a good lesson. Dude, you know, and it's fun for them to
the 10 and 12-year-olds that learn to negotiate now, if they just do it on a weekly basis, even when you don't need to, you just, hey, on Sundays we go to the flea market and we practice negotiating. Like at 18, 20, 25, what kind of deals are they negotiating and how masterful are they?
Especially if they get into crypto and the metaverse now, dude, teamed with that.
Yeah, it's like...
Which they all already do. They all play... Your kids play Roblox.
Yeah.
Your kids...
Roblox is crazy.
Play Minecraft. Your kids play these games. They all know it. It's native to them. My daughter just turned 8 in April. Yeah. And I had to ask her a bunch of times, what do you want for your birthday? You know, for this aunt, this uncle, blah, blah, blah. And her answer was the same thing every time. Money for Robux. Yeah. Cash money. They've created a kid casino. It's crazy. She hasn't even spent the money yet because she got gift cards. So she used those first. She stacked up. She had like 7,000 Robux. She was hyped. Yeah. Smile on her face. And that's it. And I'm sitting there taking it in. I'm like, this is like, in 10 years, when these kids have money and are going into college and the workforce and this and that, where do we think this is all going? Yeah. It's all heading in one way, one direction. And I think the ones that get on now,
Ready Player One.
Exactly. I mean, dude, I'm all right. So one of the projects that I work with, the NFT projects, it's not just an NFT project. They started as, it's a game. It's really a video game. And the NFTs are this, like, it looks like a tribal mask almost. And the tribal mask is your character in, it's like a Street Fighter, Tekken style fighting game. And your mask, your guy will have that on. That's your character. It's two founders. One is like the storytelling video production specialist. The other one was a full-time escalation developer at Microsoft, making like $250,000 a year. And he's like, I'm done. Like, I'm going to build my own thing. So this dude is like unbelievable. It's unbelievable, especially when you look at, like Bored Ape Yacht Club and Doodles and I was going to say one, but it just came out that the founder is a scam artist, so I'm not going to say that name. Anyway.
That's the sad reality of it.
Yeah, it really is. It's so sad. I'll let
you finish. Go ahead.
But the other reality is that all of these same scammers are working in regular traditional business, and you just don't know it anyway. Or you do know it and you laugh about it because you're like, but you have all these projects that have like tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they haven't even produced the metaverse that they've been promising. And meanwhile, this one guy has a working metaverse you can run around in already, not pixelated like Decentraland and Sandbox. It's like if we were to turn on the Xbox and start running around, like imagine like, you know what I mean? Like Mario World on the Switch, like running around, right? And so you say Ready Player One, and it's just incredible because what they did then was realize, look, I have this capability, so let's just start offering this package to other projects now. So now other projects come along and no matter like what their theme is, we'll create them a world. And then their users can go run around in that world. And the fighting game, the first version is to look like Tekken Street Fighter, stuff like that. But the next version, like the final version of the game, will be more along the lines of like a Ready Player One. You put your Oculus on and you're in there, you know, fighting against your opponents. And they're supposed to be like 1v1, 3v3, and then like an all out.
I'm gonna pause you right there. Have you played 2K online?
No, but
you can run fives.
Yeah.
I've ran fives like
I watched
in
my
the
son
spot.
do it.
Yeah, you can run. I mean,
He
ones
goes to the park.
Yeah, you go to the park. You can play outside, ones, twos, threes, fives, and then competitively you can go on the inside too, and it's like competitive there too.
And
but it's this whole world, and there's money involved there too.
So that's exactly what I'm pointing to when I mean it's already native to the kids. Like they get it.
Yeah.
The difference is, and a lot of people get hung up on this. So the difference in Web 2, which let's say is 2K, and Web 3 and blockchain and NFTs, is you or your kid spends money on your credit card to buy VC in 2K. And then goes and buys the J's and buys the gear and buys his hair and buys
you got
this.
up the skills too.
But then it's done. That's it.
Yeah.
It's bought. That's it.
Yeah.
What Web3 and blockchain and NFTs is allowing is when your kid buys those things, he now owns them or she now owns them. And so when they're running game at the park, in Web3 2K, when we get there, because we will get there, someone can be like, yo, I like those. And be like, yeah, I'll sell them to you right now. And they can sell them and take that money and then take it out of 2K and go do something else with it.
Yeah. So in 2K, I went to my boy's crib. We were shooting around in his gym, but it's like you're on the couch and you could just come to the wall, like, yo, check out my J collection. And it would be like a clock just with sneakers, and that'd be fire. You have your little legit J's on display in the metaverse Web3.
Yep.
I think it's fire because there's already exchanges that are happening there. Or if you want to if we want to run 5-on-5 for money, you know what I mean? Like, you get your squad, I get my squad, or even like twos or whatever. It's like you put your money up. Ideally, it should be Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think eventually on a Bitcoin standard, like we'll do that. But
I'm not trying to spend my Bitcoin though. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Put something else out.
I hear you. Or like Twitter's.
Doug, like one egg right now is like $2.50.
Yeah.
I'm only playing, but put up like. This inflation is wild out here.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Official numbers are what? 8-9%.
Yeah, but it's so.
But the measurement is not how it used to be, right? And that's what they're saying. Like the real inflation number is 20%.
So I do raw celery juice.
Yeah.
Every morning on an empty stomach, and I've been doing it for a year now. Last year when I started, my bags of celery were $1.99.
Mm-hmm. Like $6.
Like 3 weeks ago, they were $2.59, $2.49. Now they're $2.99.
Yeah.
So that's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But we're being told 8, 9.
Bro.
I mean, gas is what?
In California, it's $7.
Gas is 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
gas in California is $7.
Gas over here, gas in the city is almost $5. A year ago,
premium.
It was under $3.
Premium.
A year and a half ago,
$5.25. It's crazy.
Know? House price.
Energy, peep game. I upgraded my AC and heat in the house so I could save 40% on my bill, but the energy costs are up, so I'm not saving that much.
So it just breaks you, right?
So like that's great, but I didn't move on that investment on that number. You know what I mean? So like it's frustrating.
And the housing market,
bro.
I feel bad for a lot of people right now in the housing market because. So my girl's in the mortgage industry. I don't like the mortgage industry. I think it's super dirty, and it's just crazy to see people for that the price that they're listing the house at, in my opinion, is already inflated because of where we're at in this bubble. And you have people like listing the house and then selling the house for more than it was listed for. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, in 3 years when this is all popped and your house is worth half what you paid for it. There
was one tweet that was like, your house ain't worth 9 Bitcoin. Like, sell it while you can. because it has to pull back. But like the demand, I don't know. I'm in Worcester. The demand is still insane. There. It's still there.
But it's there because inflation. I mean, go back to Germany. Go back to was it Ecuador, El Salvador? Just go back to where all the places. There's a couple countries in Africa, I believe, where inflation just ran wild. When that happens, people spend it as soon as they get it. So that's why these things start, going up. And they can't raise the interest rates enough because it will just implode. So
they're saying if they raise the rates a few more times, it's gonna for sure cause a tank in the stock market.
100%, which has to happen because there are so many just dead zombie companies that make no money that are just sucking up all that liquidity that could go to, him and her that are actually doing something, but they just don't want to because it will be very painful for a while. But it's going to happen one way or the other. Yeah. I mean, what's his name? Bill Ackman. He runs one of the huge hedge funds, but he was, when we were watching CNBC earlier, he came out and said the same thing. He's like, they have to, like, if you want any shot, you have to come out and like, it's not like 1%. It's like, okay, next meeting, interest rates are 10% and everything falls off of a cliff for a few months. But then like, you're able to actually then use that capital again for like productive things. And no one is willing to do that. Everyone has to get reelected.
What's the first thing you're buying at that point?
Oh my Lord.
Like, what are your eyes on going into something like that?
If everything just...
Fire sale on everything. The Fed announces interest rates are now 10%. Like, that's in bananas. It's at 4 or 5% right now.
Definitely Bitcoin, Ethereum, that physical silver if you could get it.
Yeah.
Because...
I'll pause you on silver. Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he was like, this is... The fiat is fake money, M2 money supply, but silver and gold, these are physical things. This is like, he's like, this is God's money. So like, they mine new gold and stuff like that, but it's physical and it's, it is what it is. It backs itself. Right. So I saw that and that kind of like opened up my mind to physical, right? Which was cool. So
I mean, real thing on silver. So that's like the physical aspect of being real money. Outside of that, the reason why I'm even more bullish on it is because layered on top of that, historically, gold to silver was like 60 ounces of silver would get you like 1 ounce of gold, 60, 70 ounces, somewhere in between there. And right now it's above that. But not only that, it was usually like 15, 16 ounces of silver would come out of the ground for every 1 ounce of gold.
Gotcha.
But now it's at like 7 to 1. So it's coming out of the ground less and less and less. It's priced more ounces to an ounce of gold. It's been comically manipulated for like 100 years. JP Morgan had to pay $920 million of a fine, was it last year or the year before, for manipulating the market, quote, tens of thousands of times. So when it does correct, it will be like, face melting sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin, Ethereum, silver, and at that point, maybe some real estate.
Got you.
I'm not like a huge real estate guy.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, man. I don't see the Fed announcing that overnight, but I think they'll chip away every month. And I don't know what that market's going to look like, man.
And then they're supposed to start. So they're supposed to start raising rates, and in June they're supposed to start easing their treasury buying, and they're supposed to the treasuries and is it mortgage backed? But they're supposed to stop buying. I think it's like I think they're starting with like 40 billion a month and then move up to like 90 billion. So with them taking that purchasing out and raising rates, I think it's going to be an interesting.
It's the 1-2 punch, man.
Situation.
A lot of people have no clue what that even means and why that does anything to the market. So kudos to you for being educated on that. Bitcoin standard. Have you gotten to the fiat standard by Safety?
No.
Have you heard him talk a little bit about the history of money?
I haven't heard him specifically, but like I've read up on the history of money itself. Yeah, he has a pretty good perspective on like historical things with like money. Even listening to like Hamilton's biography, the one that inspired Hamilton Lin-Manuel to write Hamilton. They were talking about, after America was established, like one day these dudes were playing with the money and it collapsed. You know what I mean? It's like this stuff happens in history. Oh yes. Over and over. And like empires last 225 years. And it's like, how old is America? Just about that age. Yeah. And world dominating currency is like every 70 to 90 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's an empire right now also. Like we're at that time. So I mean, I don't expect the dollar to stay, at least not by itself. I think there will be like a group of assets, maybe like a Chinese asset, maybe Bitcoin, maybe gold and the US dollar, maybe even barrels of oil. And then that, I'm not saying that this is what's best or what should be done. This is just what I think is going to end up happening. And then there will be government digital currencies. Yeah, I think of stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we go straight into the way I see it, currency crash, and then here's your CBDC. Yeah, and if you talk slick on Facebook or Twitter, and I think a little that pause.
I think the CBDC's entrance. I think that these stablecoin situations happening have something to do with the entrance of those.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, and we've talked about it. Like, we know the feds are in Bitcoin. We know the feds are at Bitcoin Miami. Like, they have an active interest to gain all intel. Yes. So they have to get into these. Even, did you peep the Netflix documentary of the Canadian exchange, the Bitcoin exchange?
Yes.
Bro. So unbelievable.
I'm pretty, into crypto and DeFi and whatnot. So the whole, are you familiar with the Wonderland thing that went down in DeFi over the last summer?
I haven't seen it.
Maybe not the last summer, but over
some time ago.
Maybe like 5 months. Yeah. So not the dude who died, the other guy, Michael from that documentary. Michael's last name started with a P. Yep. That wasn't his real name. That guy ended up, so I got into this, my friend told me about this protocol months ago called Wonderland. And whatever, without getting deep into the weeds and whatnot, the treasurer wasn't doxxed, which means you didn't know his name or who he was. But the other people were doxxed. And so for people that don't know, in the NFT crypto world, there are terrible people. Terrible. But there are also, like, they're called white hats that just trace these people down and out them. So this protocol was going along and doing well. And one of these white hats came out and exposed the treasurer and was like, we know who, I know who you are, blah, 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 blah. And it was that guy. It was Michael. Crazy. From the thing. Crazy. And he goes by Sifu on Twitter, OX Sifu, and in Discord. And so what was wild is we're all in Discord, like,
you seen it happen,
chopping it up with this dude, like day to day, because he's the treasurer. And like, he was really good at what he did. Like, they grew this treasury. People need to understand, they created a protocol from nothing. computers, keys, created it from nothing, and grew a treasury to over $1 billion in like a year and a half. Like that is mind blowing, like real money.
Yeah.
So he was really good at what he did. But as soon as that news came out, that was it. It was all over.
Crazy.
So it was very interesting to watch it all play out. And he didn't care.
Yeah.
He's like, so what? He's like, I didn't steal a penny from this. So what? And people were just giving it to him because like the documentary's out. Everyone knows that guy's not dead. That guy didn't go to India and die.
Let's talk about that. This dude creates a Bitcoin quote unquote exchange for Canadians to buy Bitcoin. He takes everyone's Bitcoin and he then sends it to other exchanges to buy and hold Bitcoin. And he's such a bad quote unquote trader that he loses everyone's Bitcoin and then he mysteriously dies. Worth how much? 200 million, right?
It was around there. Yeah.
It's like 200 million. And, that one dude, he's like, what did he take a loan against his home? I think it was like a full equity loan on like a couple $100,000 or a loan of that amount. And,
it was terrible. People lost everything.
Like you take that, you deposit it with them for trading or for interest, 5%, 10%. I think that was his plan. He wanted a lump sum of interest on his payment and he never got his money back. Like people commit suicide after stuff like that.
I mean, that's going back to this Luna situation last week. I mean, people were like, I spend a lot of time on Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
And it was like somber. Yeah. Like some of the spaces.
Listen.
It were like funeral.
I know. And you've been in the Facebook group for a minute where like my whole thing and our stance on it was always like, Bitcoin is like solid. It's never going to be something like that.
Right.
Cause it actually has value.
Right.
And so I tell people like, major on Bitcoin, be speculative on other stuff. But when you get greedy and say, you know what, I'm going to do 99% of my portfolio in this, whatever token, coin, protocol, NFT, baseball card, whatever trade it is, and it doesn't pan out in your favor, you just risk your entire portfolio in one move.
And reality also is that a majority of the time that people do that,
it never works.
It's not even that it doesn't work. It's that I can guarantee you that like they didn't sit down and read through the protocol white paper. They didn't read through all of the documents. They couldn't explain to you like how the protocol works, where the security comes from, where the money comes from, how they're just like, word, that guy said it, this dude said it, the TV saying it. Let's roll.
I saw a post from Reddit, and a chick was managing her and her husband's portfolio, and I think she blew through like 300,000, and she like photoshops the documents. Again,
going back to the like, Luna thing last week, there were people literally, they're like, crying. Yeah, like you can tell they just got done crying. Yeah, you know what I mean. And they're like, my whole savings was in there. I refinanced my house. It was all in there. And it was like, I've never seen anything like that because it was like legitimately 2 days. It went from like $50 to
zero,
nothing.
Rug pull.
And oh my gosh. And then
where did the money go?
What makes it even worse is then like the exchanges, which that's a whole nother conversation. Pause it. Don't let you trade it. So you can't even get out at a loss. They're just like, yep, you're done. You're literally going to zero. We're not even going to let you sell it and get out. And it's just like, this is so criminal. It has to be criminal. There's no way this is not criminal.
Where does the money go?
That's what I'm saying. Like who... I mean, I think we all know where it goes. Yeah. But it's like, okay, let's be real. When they're like, 50 billion vanished, it's like, okay, but it didn't just vanish. Like it doesn't vanish. It went somewhere. Understand this, please.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's so much of that. You know what I mean? There's so much of it.
There really is like disgusting amounts actually. Even
there are things like I think Wasabi and Whirlpool, where you have to have like a Wasabi wallet with Whirlpool, where you can take Bitcoin, right? Say you get I don't know, let's say we'll just use whole numbers. You get one whole Bitcoin. You want to like rinse it so its history can't be seen.
Right.
You would put it through Whirlpool, and it's kind of like a Marty Bird kind of thing, where it's
like
just kind of
cash,
just tornado. Like, let's just spin this around, and then a bunch of transactions get paid out to you, where it's been rinsed 100 times. It's like a VPN for money.
100%.
You know what I mean?
That's so Sifu, the treasurer of Wonderland, Michael, whatever.
Yeah.
Did all, because again, the white hats traced all the transactions, and they just blast it. They put it all on a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
But you see it, they all sent to Tornado Cash, like 2,000 ETH.
Crazy.
These dudes are sitting on. But they're in, like, what are you going to do? This dude's tucked away in Vietnam, probably on some estate.
Bro.
Who's going for him? The U.S. government? No.
If I'm worth a couple $100 million, yeah, you could literally be anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Then these dudes aren't dumb.
In a bunker, like...
Internet connection.
Crazy.
It's amazing what internet and a computer and the right person can do.
You know what's funny? So that movie ends with, they think he got plastic surgery, right?
If he didn't die, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the way out on that.
Yeah.
So I was watching Narcos, and like one of the dudes who goes out, he turns to plastic surgery, but he dies on a table.
Got it.
You know what I mean? But like now it's like plastic surgery is that easy or that more safe, to the point where you could literally rob some people for 200 million in Bitcoin.
I'll be gone.
Plastic surgery and you're
out.
Lit.
That's it.
It's crazy.
And the thing is, that's because like he got caught.
Yeah.
There's people that are doing NFT scams and crypto scams.
What I was saying with the Whirlpool is someone made a generic Whirlpool website where it looks like that, but it's not that. So when you deposit your Bitcoin, it just tells you to keep holding. Imagine sending a whole coin, 2 whole coins.
Yeah, I see this happen almost daily here's just a life tip in general. Don't click links. Ever. Like in your text messages, unless it's like, you know, it's from the person. In your emails, even when your text message and email says it's from your bank, it's not.
Facts. So from your PayPal, from your bank.
Yeah. The scammers in the crypto NFT space do not sleep. Like it is 24/7, and they use all, Discord. But to your point, this is what brought it up. What they do is they'll literally trace Etherscan. So they'll see what contracts are being uploaded for new projects. And then they literally will just copy paste the art and put up fake websites and then like work their way into the Discords of the real projects and whatnot. And somehow it's usually by socially engineering one of the Discord mods into like screen sharing with them, and then they can just take their permissions and basically become the mod in the Discord. And then they put up fake links. People go and they think that they're gonna buy one of these NFTs, and it just sends straight to these other wallets.
Yeah, I've seen some NFT hacks like that. And even the idea of like NFT possession. And like the idea of an NFT is cool. Like I've thought through it through like the lens of music. Like imagine, we'll just say Nipsey Hussle. Imagine owning an NFT of Nipsey Hussle where you can actually have the raw files to that session, and only you possess those raw files to that session. Like that's something that's cool. And maybe that's on like a Bitcoin kind of contract, layer 3, you know what I mean? Security wise. Like that's a really cool idea. Well, what do you think about smart contracts and like investments moving forward?
I
NFTs.
Think
we talked about the health industry.
Everything will move, in that direction. It's just like how, in my mind, the way I see it is, how long does it take?
Yeah.
What kind of...
The technology's there right now.
Right. It comes down to more of the red tape, right? Like, how long is it going to take for the medical industry to adopt that technology.
20 years.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the State Department, so that all of our licenses and everything is just your
Wrapped
mortgage. You know what I mean? Think about how long it takes for a house to close from like when you, like why? Because a stack of paper
the
is
lawyers,
sitting
this,
somewhere that needs to, instead of click, done.
Yeah, we've talked about this where for a group transaction like that, the lawyer goes to the closing, the mortgage broker goes to the closing, the bank goes to the closing, the client and the realtors go to the closing. Everyone has a hardware device. Everyone clicks OK, and it's confirmed on the blockchain. And the transaction is instantaneous and irreversible. Like, that's amazing to me. I just cashed a check, and it was like, hey, you cashed a check bigger than $5,600, so you're not going to have your money for about 2 weeks. Why?
Right.
What do you mean, bro?
Right.
It's like, oh, your money will be cleared over 3 different dates.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, I have a check that is confirmed by this bank, like with a seal right there, that the funds are right there. So why am I limited? And why is this transaction not instantly finalized? And that's the cool thing about Bitcoin is like, it works like that. 10-minute blocks. I send you something. It's confirmed on the blockchain. It gets reconfirmed on the blockchain, and it's final and it's irreversible.
Right.
That's what I like about Bitcoin too. I love the idea of Bitcoin closings, Bitcoin mortgages. It's going to have to work like that at some point. So it's just a matter of how soon.
One of the things that I like a lot about it is just like the control, being able to actually like move your money around. Like to go, think about, first of all, if you put your money in a savings account, it's losing money.
Yeah.
But
why is it losing money?
Because inflation is way higher than.
What do you think it's at?
I mean, honestly, based off of prices, at least 20-25%. But like I just gave you the celery. That's 100. Gas is damn near 100%. Milk is like $7 a gallon. That's like 100%. I'm not saying everything is, but I mean, man. So when your bank is paying you 0.5%,
0.005,
right, and inflation is, let's just say 10%. You're actually losing 9.5% of your money over that year. And people just don't understand this.
Yeah.
But being able to look around and like, you can't just, first of all, if you walked into your bank and was like, yeah, let me withdraw. Let's say you had like 20K. They're going to tell you no. They're going to say, no, you got to call ahead and come back in a few days. Mind you, that's your bank. And they don't even have that on tap. Right. So that's an issue, but you can't just walk in and take your money and like, you're not going to go find some other bank that you can throw money in that will pay you out this percent. And then like, if you wanted to 30 days later, take it from there and go on what I like about DeFi and crypto and blockchain is that like, I do whatever I want with the money. There's nobody saying anything. I can put it in this protocol and earn whatever percent. And then if I find another one, I can take it all out, zoom it over here, you know, which I love. At the same time, like there's no customer service. So if you mess up or you don't know, like there's no, hello, can I help you? Nope, we cannot help you.
There's no live chat. There's no phone number to call. There's no reverse button.
You can look it up on YouTube, but the guy at the end of the channel is going to politely let you know your money is gone forever.
Yeah, I always tell people, whenever you're spending a transaction, do a small amount first. And just wait, chill out, and get it confirmed, because you do not want to try something out, put in the wrong address.
Right.
I've sent to the wrong address before, and I know what I'm doing to an extent, right? So like sometimes it happens. You're copying your paste. Maybe it didn't happen that second time. And the person I sent it to was someone that I knew, so they kicked it back, which was great. But like that never happens.
Never, yeah.
So send a small transaction first.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this has been good. Last thoughts. What have been your favorite books lately? Favorite podcasts?
I'll be honest with the podcast. I haven't been listening to any podcasts. Time has been small.
Yeah.
Books. I'm almost done with the Bitcoin Standard.
Cool.
Let me see. Before that, what did I read? I forget what it's called. It might just be called Money. Came out last year, I think, and it's like just the history of money. Mm-hmm. That was interesting. I'm reading a book called Forbidden Knowledge. It's more of like a philosophical book, but it goes through the idea of like the human's desire for forbidden knowledge, like starting back in like the garden and whatnot. So that's been interesting. I think that's it for books right now.
Gotcha. I like it.
How about you?
What am I getting through right now? I've been going through Hamilton's biography. I'm almost done. It's like 1,200 pages. Yeah,
big. I've seen it.
But like, I don't know. It's cool to think through it. It's cool to learn about history. I like the way it's written. So that's been cool. Outside of that, man, I can't think of what I've finished lately. I've been on Audible a lot. Okay. I have like 80 titles on there and I have like 7 credits. So it's like I drive a lot, turn that on. But I typically re-listen to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. I got through Jim Rohn's book, The 12 Pillars. It's a good starter book just for like, income, money, earning, investing in yourself, developing yourself to earn more, right? Brian Tracy talks about how, or I think he quoted Jim Rohn, but it was like, to become a millionaire, you need to like become someone else. You know what I mean? Like you have to like really develop yourself and learn all these skills and do all these things. So like become a millionaire so you become a better person in that regard. But his stuff is solid. But yeah, I'll put those 2 books in the show notes. Okay. I'll put your socials in the show notes if you want. This has been a good time. I appreciate your time. Absolutely. We're going to do this again.
For sure.
Hopefully, in the
when
near
the
future.
Market's back up.
Yeah, when the market's back up, like, hey, here's an update. Here's some things that I got on in the bear market and those kind of things. But guys, if you are listening, make sure you like and subscribe. Drop a comment in the comments. Let us know what you guys are thinking. You can find us on all major platforms for audio, and for video, you can catch us on YouTube. G, thank you so much. Thank you. We'll get to it again, bro.
For sure.